Welcome back to Mission of the Chosen. Today we dive into a truth few dare to embrace. You are more than forgiven, more than loved. You are the King's very duplicate. Many people live their lives thinking faith is just about survival, about barely holding on until heaven. But let me tell you, the calling over your life is much bigger than that. You weren't just created to scrape by, to endure pain, and wait for relief someday in eternity. No, your very existence carries the mark of divine authority. Heaven has placed a seal on you that hell cannot erase. When a king sends out his decree, he doesn't walk into every city himself. He presses his seal into the wax, and that seal carries his full authority. That's what you are in this world, a living seal, a walking signet ring of Christ's dominion. You are not empty, you are not ordinary, you are not overlooked. You are stamped with the King's image, chosen to reflect his authority here and now. I know, sometimes you doubt it. Maybe life has tried to convince you otherwise. Maybe bills, battles, or betrayals made you question if God even sees you. But here's what you must hold on to. The enemy does not waste energy attacking the ordinary. He fights hardest against those who carry divine weight. The resistance you felt is not proof of weakness, it's confirmation of heaven's trust in you. Think of Joseph. He wasn't looking for a crown. He was just faithful in every season, betrayed by brothers, sold as a slave, imprisoned without reason. Yet everywhere he went, favor followed him. Potiphar's house prospered, the prison shifted, and eventually, the palace opened its doors. Why? Because Joseph was carrying the authority of the king before the crown was ever visible. That's what it means to be a duplicate. You carry destiny before the world can see it. You might be wondering, but how do I know if I'm really the king's duplicate? How do I know if this isn't just inspiring talk? I'll tell you. God always leaves signs. He does not duplicate himself in silence. The evidence of his spirit shows up in your life, even when you don't realize it. Maybe you've noticed that even in your silence, people sense something about you. You walk into a room, and the atmosphere shifts. Without forcing yourself forward, people look to you for direction. That's not coincidence. That's the fragrance of royalty resting on your life. Your ideas move conversations. Your words calm storms in your family. In your circle of friends, people find themselves drawn to your counsel even when you weren't trying to lead. This is not human influence. This is divine imprint. You're carrying something bigger than yourself, and others can feel it even if they can't explain it. Let's talk about boldness. Many think boldness is being loud, aggressive, or forceful, but true boldness is deeper. It's conviction. It's standing steady when others fall. It's declaring truth when silence would be easier. Remember Peter? Before the Spirit filled him, he denied Jesus 3 times in fear. But once the King's Spirit duplicated in him, Peter stood before thousands declaring the gospel without hesitation. That wasn't Peter's personality, it was the King's authority alive in him. That same boldness rises in you when life gets heavy. You've felt it. When storms crash, something inside you whispers, "I will not break." When compromise surrounds you, your heart shouts, "I can't bow." That strength you can't quite explain, that's the King's Spirit moving in your bones, reminding you who you are. Here's another sign. You don't go unnoticed in the spirit realm. Some people love you without fully knowing why. Others dislike you before you even speak. Darkness resists you, though you've done nothing wrong. Do not be surprised. When Jesus stepped into the synagogue, demons cried out without him saying a word. They recognized his authority. That's what happens when you carry the King's reflection. Both light and darkness respond to you because they see who walks within you. And maybe you've realized something else. What once satisfied you now feels empty. What once felt fun now feels like chains. You can't enjoy sin the way others do because you weren't built for it. A goat is comfortable in the mud, but a sheep cries out when it falls in. You're restless in darkness because you were created for light. That hunger for purity, that thirst for prayer, that unexplainable pull toward God's word, it's not natural willpower, it's divine DNA alive in you. Sometimes this identity feels heavy. You look around and see others living casually, carefree, but your soul feels a weight you can't shake. You can't ignore injustice. You can't tolerate compromise. You can't just live for yourself. That's not a burden of guilt, that's a kingdom burden. Think of Nehemiah. He was just a cupbearer in exile, but when he heard of Jerusalem's broken walls, he wept. That grief wasn't natural, it was divine. It was the king's heart planted in his chest, and that's what you carry too, the weight of heaven's mission. But I need you to know this. Being the king's duplicate is not always glamorous. It can feel lonely. It can feel hidden. People may misunderstand you. Some may reject you. But gold isn't found on the surface. Diamonds are formed under pressure, deep in the dark. Your hiddenness is not abandonment, it's preparation. The king protects his duplicates until the appointed time. If you feel overlooked, if you feel invisible, rejoice. You are not forgotten, you are preserved. You are being shaped in secret for a purpose that will one day roar in public. When God reveals his duplicate, the world will see not just a person, but his authority walking in flesh. And when storms come, and they will, you'll feel something unshakable inside you. I know who I am. The world may label you, life may test you, people may misjudge you, but your identity cannot be taken. When the king duplicates himself in you, no trial, no enemy, no lie can erase that crown from your spirit. Chosen one, let me speak directly to your spirit today. You've felt it, haven't you? That quiet whisper deep inside that tells you you're not ordinary. You move differently. You see life differently. And though many around you cannot understand, you know deep down you are marked, chosen, and set apart. But today, I want to reveal something that will shake your soul and ignite your faith. You are the king's duplicate. You are carrying the very authority of Christ on this earth. Yes, you are not just saved, not just forgiven, not just loved. You are a duplicate of the king himself, clothed in his likeness, bearing his authority, walking in his name. And when you truly understand this, your life will never be the same again. Stay with me, because this is not just another motivational word. This is a divine unveiling of who you truly are in God's kingdom. When we talk about being a duplicate, we are not saying you are Christ himself. We are saying you are his representation, his mirror on earth. Think of how a king seals his decrees. He uses a signet ring, a duplicate of his own authority, to stamp every document. That stamp carries the same weight as the king's spoken word. Chosen one, you are that stamp. You are the signet of Christ in this generation. Heaven recognizes you. Hell fears you. The earth is waiting for you. The king does not walk among men in physical form anymore, but he walks through you. His spirit rests in your body. His words echo through your mouth. His love flows through your actions, and his authority radiates through your presence. You're not walking empty. You're walking with the throne inside you. Every king who reigns on earth is known not only by his crown, but by how his presence changes the atmosphere. When he enters, silence falls. When he speaks, laws are shaped. Authority is never invisible, it reveals itself. And if you are carrying the king's likeness, then his authority will show through your life. That's why you've experienced tension that others don't. Some people are drawn to you instantly, while others seem to resist you without reason. This isn't about personality, it's about recognition. Spirits know who you are even when people can't explain it. Heaven affirms you, hell fears you, and earth doesn't know what to do with you. Jesus walked into villages, and two things always happened. Some were amazed, others were offended, and he told his disciples, "If they hated me, they will hate you also." Why? Because duplication creates reflection. The same spirit that lived in him is alive in you, and the world reacts the same way. You may have tried to hide. You may have tried to step back, to live quietly, to blend in, but heaven won't let you disappear. Moses ran into the wilderness, but fire found him anyway. Jeremiah said he was too young, but the word burned in his bones until he couldn't stay silent. Authority will not stay buried. It follows you until you accept that you are not ordinary. Spiritual authority rarely awakens on the mountaintop. It rises in valleys. It's in prisons, deserts, storms, where you first hear the throne's voice inside you. Joseph found it in chains. Daniel discovered it in exile. Esther walked with it in a hostile palace. Every duplicate is tested, and the test proves the seal is real. And authority always has a sound. Sometimes you've spoken, and later you wondered how your words carried such weight. That wasn't human confidence. That was heaven echoing through your mouth. When Peter told the crippled man at the temple gate, "What I have I give you, in the name of Jesus Christ, rise and walk," that was the sound of divine duplication. He didn't speak in his own name, he spoke with a king's authority. Remember this: true authority doesn't need to shout. A whisper from someone aligned with heaven carries more weight than a roar from someone unsure. That's why your quiet prayers reach further than you realize. That's why your presence unsettles darkness even when you don't say a word. Authority doesn't have to perform. It simply is. And maybe you've asked yourself, but how can I carry this if I'm still flawed? How can I be a duplicate if I stumble? Hear me clearly, duplication doesn't mean perfection. It means representation. The king doesn't need flawless copies. He chooses surrendered mirrors. Peter was impulsive. Paul carried a past of violence. David failed deeply. Yet all of them bore the seal of heaven once they aligned with the king. The enemy can't take your authority, he can only make you doubt it. Your mistakes don't erase your seal. Your weaknesses don't cancel your crown. The king stamped you knowing every flaw you would carry, and he trusted you anyway. That trust is eternal. Think about your hunger. While others are satisfied with surface faith, your soul longs for depth. While many chase comfort, your heart aches for purpose. That hunger is not natural, it is heaven's DNA alive in you. The spirit inside won't let you settle for shallow waters. You are being pulled into the deep because that is where authority grows. But with authority comes responsibility. Power is never given for pride, it is given for service. Jesus calmed storms with the same hands that washed dirty feet. If you are truly his duplicate, you will carry authority with humility. And humility is why heaven trusts you. This is why you feel weight others don't. You can't ignore injustice. You can't tolerate compromise. You can't live just for yourself. Your shoulders weren't built for chains, they were built for crowns. The burden pressing on you is not punishment, it is preparation. The king is stretching you because nations will lean on you, and you will not collapse. Authority is not waiting for some distant future, it's alive in you now. Every time you forgive when you could fight back, that's authority. Every time you speak peace when chaos screams, that's authority. Every time you resist compromise when it would be easier to bow, that's authority. Royalty is not proven by a visible crown, but by the way it carries itself before the world notices. Chosen one, your authority is not far away. It is pulsing inside your chest, waiting to be believed. Every word from your lips, every step you take, every act of love is heaven's decree echoing through you. Do not underestimate it. You are not carrying a shadow, you are carrying the king's reality. When heaven stamps its seal on someone, the evidence doesn't fade with time, it deepens. You've noticed how your desires have shifted. What once thrilled you now feels empty. What once looked like freedom now feels like chains. This isn't you changing with age. This is the king's DNA reshaping your spirit. Think of it like this. When you carry the bloodline of heaven, your appetite cannot remain the same. A lion cannot be satisfied eating grass. An eagle cannot find rest in a chicken coop. And you, duplicate of the king, cannot find peace in what the world calls pleasure. You may try, but deep down, your spirit will protest until you rise into who you truly are. This hunger for holiness is not weakness, it's proof of your identity. Even when you stumble, something inside pulls you back. Sheep cry when they fall in mud, but goats rest in it. That cry inside you, that ache for purity, is heaven's voice in your chest. But hunger alone doesn't define a duplicate. It's also the burden you carry. While others can ignore pain around them, your heart breaks for things that don't even affect you personally. You feel injustice that doesn't touch your life. You weep for people you've never met. You sense heaviness in atmospheres others call normal. That weight isn't your imagination, it's the king's heart pressed into yours. Nehemiah had no reason to care about Jerusalem's walls. He was safe in a foreign palace. Yet the news of broken gates made him cry and fast for days. That was not a natural response, it was divine duplication. The king's heart had entered his own, and you too feel what others don't because your heart is carrying more than your own burdens. This is why life often feels heavier for you. While others laugh and move on, you carry questions at night. While others chase distractions, you carry responsibility you never asked for. But let me remind you, crowns are heavy, scepters are not light, glory is weighty, and heaven has trusted your shoulders to hold what ordinary ones cannot. Your journey is also marked by isolation. Maybe you've noticed how often you've been set apart. Sometimes friends walked away. Sometimes you were left out of opportunities. Sometimes you even prayed, "Why am I always alone?" But listen, diamonds are not displayed while they're being cut. Gold is not left in the open while it's purified. Hiddenness is heaven's strategy of protection. You are not overlooked, you are preserved. You are not abandoned, you are reserved. The king hides what is precious until the right moment. When the time comes, what seemed like wasted seasons will reveal themselves as preparation chambers. And while you wait, identity becomes your anchor. Trials shake you, people misunderstand you, but something inside whispers, "I know who I am." That knowing is not pride, it's revelation. The seal on your life cannot be erased by storms, scars, or shame. When you remember who stamped you, you stop questioning whether you are enough. Authority is not fragile. It doesn't break when life presses against it. If anything, pressure proves its authenticity. Clay crumbles under heat, but gold shines brighter. You have walked through fires others could not endure, yet you're still here. That survival itself is evidence. Heaven stamped you, and hell couldn't burn it off. So don't despise your tears. Don't despise your scars. Don't even despise the silence where answers feel far away. These are chisels in the hands of the master, shaping his reflection in you. Every hidden season is carving authority. Every lonely night is deepening hunger. Every unanswered prayer is anchoring trust. And all of it is proof you are the king's mirror in this generation. Chosen one, your hunger is proof of heaven's fire. Your burdens are the king's heart beating in your chest. Your isolation is not punishment but preservation. And your scars are evidence that gold cannot be destroyed by flames. Walk with your head lifted. You are not waiting to become royalty. You already carry the throne's imprint. Authority is more than words. It carries an atmosphere. Have you noticed that when you walk into a room, something shifts? Even in silence, your presence is felt. Some people relax when you arrive. Others feel exposed without knowing why. That's not charisma, it's the aura of the king's seal upon you. Jesus didn't need to announce himself. Demons cried out the moment he stepped into a synagogue. People pressed closer just to touch his garment. Why? Because authority radiates, it doesn't need introduction. And you, duplicate of the king, carry that same fragrance. Heaven rests on you in ways even you sometimes overlook. But this fragrance also provokes opposition. Darkness cannot ignore you. Resistance rises not because you're weak, but because you're dangerous. Have you ever wondered why doors close suddenly, why attacks come from nowhere, why relationships shift without warning? It's because the enemy sees the crown on you before you see it yourself. Remember, the throne doesn't wait until you feel ready. Authority activates before comfort arrives. David was anointed king as a shepherd boy, yet years passed before he sat on the throne. In that time, lions and bears tested his hands, giants tested his courage, and betrayal tested his patience. But through it all, the anointing never left. You may be in that in-between season. You feel the oil but don't see the crown yet. You carry the promise but walk through deserts. Don't mistake delay for denial. Heaven never wastes a duplicate. What looks like waiting is actually shaping. What feels like wilderness is training ground for royalty. And authority requires alignment. If you disconnect from the source, you drain yourself. The king's duplicate doesn't walk in self-reliance but in surrender. That's why prayer is not optional, it's oxygen. That's why worship is not a ritual, it's a lifeline. The seal only carries weight when pressed by the hand of the one who owns it. This is why your hunger for presence keeps growing. You can't go long without prayer. You crave stillness. You long for his voice. You thought at first it was restlessness, but now you know it's alignment. Authority only flows through those who stay connected to the throne. But alignment also requires courage. Authority is meant to be exercised, not hidden. You can't whisper when heaven tells you to declare. You can't shrink back when God has called you forward. Your voice was given to legislate, not just to survive. You pray not as a beggar pleading for scraps, but as an ambassador writing laws. This is why your words carry unusual weight. At times, you've spoken life into someone and later realized how deeply it changed them. You didn't plan it. You didn't rehearse it. But heaven echoed through your mouth. That is the power of a duplicate. Your voice becomes the echo of the king's decree. And yet, authority doesn't mean arrogance. True power kneels. True crowns bow. Look at Christ himself. All authority in heaven and earth was his, yet he wrapped a towel around his waist and washed feet. That is the pattern of a duplicate humility carrying glory. The more heaven trusts you with, the more you serve. Chosen one, Do not be afraid of your aura. Do not be surprised by resistance. Do not despise the waiting. You are already marked, already sealed, already carrying more than you realize. The world doesn't need your strength, it needs your alignment. When you stay connected, your life becomes a decree, your voice becomes a weapon, and your presence becomes a doorway for heaven to enter earth. Every duplicate of the King carries a signature that cannot be counterfeited. It is not in your appearance, your background, or your achievements. It is the undeniable evidence of heaven woven into your life. Sometimes it shows up in ways you don't even notice. You've spoken encouragement to someone casually, and years later they tell you it saved them. You prayed quietly, and the atmosphere in a room shifted. You chose integrity when compromise was easier, and that single act redirected someone else's path. These are not coincidences, they are confirmations. The seal is working through you, even when you don't recognize it. But here's the paradox. Carrying this seal often makes life harder, not easier. While others can cut corners, you are held to a higher standard. While others seem to succeed quickly, you are tested longer. This isn't punishment, it's calibration. The King refines his duplicates because their influence carries eternal weight. If a signet is cracked, the whole decree is compromised. That's why the fire has been hotter on you. That's why the pressure has been greater. The King is ensuring no fracture distorts his reflection. Think of Daniel. Faithful in exile, he was tested in diet, in dreams, in decrees, and even in the lion's den. Each test wasn't meant to break him, but to display what duplication looks like under pressure. And the result? Kings bowed, nations shifted, and heaven's authority was revealed through one faithful life. You may feel like your tests never end. Just when you finish one battle, another begins. But this is the path of those carrying heaven's likeness. It is not endless struggle, it is endless strengthening. Each fight you endure adds weight to your authority. Each scar becomes proof that you cannot be broken. And yet, there is another sign: you are the King's duplicate. People trust you without knowing why. Strangers open their hearts to you. Friends lean on you in storms. Families find peace when you speak. You didn't ask for that role, but it follows you. Authority attracts responsibility, and when you carry the King's imprint, others instinctively recognize it. But authority is not meant to be stored, it is meant to flow. The King's power through you is not for personal gain, but for kingdom impact. When you forgive, you release freedom. When you pray, you legislate heaven's will. When you act with love, you extend the King's hand into a hurting world. Every action becomes an echo of the throne. And this is why your life cannot be casual. Casual hearts cannot carry crowns. Ordinary rhythms cannot contain eternal weight. You feel restless because your spirit knows you were created for more. The King does not waste duplicates on empty pursuits. He shapes them for assignments that ripple through eternity. So don't diminish yourself. Don't explain away the power you feel. Don't apologize for the weight you carry. You are not a mistake. You are not an accident. You are not too much. You are the embodiment of heaven's trust in this generation. Chosen one, your scars are not shame, they are signatures. Your struggles are not evidence of weakness, they are proof of endurance. And your life is not small, it is the King's decree written in flesh. Live with courage, for everywhere you walk, heaven is walking too. There comes a moment when a duplicate of the King realizes that silence itself carries authority. You've noticed it without raising your voice. People pause when you enter. Without demanding attention, conversations shift when you listen. It isn't about charisma, it's about weight. The King's presence doesn't need noise to prove itself, and neither do you. But silence is not weakness. In fact, it is one of your greatest weapons. The world teaches that louder voices win. Yet in the spirit, true dominion often speaks without sound. When Jesus stood before Pilate, he didn't argue, he didn't beg, he stood in silence, and his authority unsettled the room more than words ever could. That same atmosphere rests on you. Still, authority does not mean immunity. Storms still come, arrows still fly. But the difference is this: they cannot destroy what heaven has sealed. A duplicate may bend, but they do not break. The enemy's fiercest attacks often prove your resilience. Every time you get back up, you remind hell that it failed to erase heaven's decree. This is why your life carries such contradiction. Some look at you and see fragility, yet inside you beats the strength of an unshakable throne. Some assume you are overlooked, yet you know heaven's eyes have never left you. Some call you ordinary, yet the spirit realm reacts to you as extraordinary. Authority also transforms how you see. You notice what others ignore. You discern motives others miss. You see danger before it arrives, blessing before it blooms, truth even when it's hidden. This vision is not suspicion, it's clarity. The king shares his perspective with his duplicates because they are his eyes in the earth. But clarity can feel like a curse when no one else sees what you do. You warn, yet others laugh. You discern, yet others dismiss. Don't lose heart. Noah saw rain long before clouds gathered. Elijah saw fire long before it fell. Prophetic sight is lonely until fulfillment proves it true. And here's the challenge. Authority must be carried with patience. The king doesn't reveal everything at once. He lets his duplicates walk by faith, holding glimpses until the full picture unfolds. That's why your journey feels like puzzle pieces slowly connecting. Every season adds a fragment, every trial adds a color, and in time, the full image will prove breathtaking. Remember this, authority without humility becomes tyranny, but authority with surrender becomes transformation. You are not called to dominate people, you are called to liberate them. When you speak, chains break. When you pray, burdens lift. When you act in love, atmospheres shift. The king's authority through you is not about control, but about release. So the next time you feel the weight of isolation, the next time resistance rises without reason, the next time your silence unsettles rooms, remember what it means. You are not powerless. You are not unseen. You are not fragile. You are carrying a throne within you, and the world trembles when it feels heaven press through your presence. Chosen one, walk with this awareness. You are a living decree, a walking echo, a vessel of the throne. You don't have to fight for recognition. You don't need to prove your worth. The seal already speaks for you. Stand steady, breathe deeply, and let your very existence remind the world heaven still reigns. When the king duplicates himself in you, even your struggles become messages. You've noticed it, your pain has never been wasted. Every wound you've carried eventually turned into wisdom. Every valley you walked through became a lesson for others. This is the paradox of authority. What tries to crush you ends up amplifying your voice. Look at Paul. Chains didn't silence him. They spread his letters to nations. Look at Joseph. Betrayal didn't destroy him. It positioned him to preserve lives. Look at David. Wilderness didn't erase him. It trained him to reign. In the same way, your scars are not liabilities. They are credentials. They qualify you to speak with weight, to comfort with empathy, and to lead with depth. Authority is not proven in comfort but in survival, and you, chosen one, are still here. After storms that should have broken you, after nights that should have ended you, after fires that should have consumed you, yet here you stand. That endurance is evidence that you are more than flesh and bone. You are spirit, sealed with eternal imprint. But don't confuse endurance with ease. Carrying the king's likeness means carrying responsibility others can't understand. You see farther, you feel deeper, you stand longer. You cannot settle into shallow waters. You cannot live like everyone else. Your very identity sets you apart, and separation is rarely comfortable. Even so, isolation has sharpened your ears. Have you noticed how clearly you can hear in the quiet? While the crowd chases noise, you have learned to discern whispers. The king doesn't shout to his duplicates, he breathes on them. That's why others miss it while you catch it. Heaven has trained your ears for subtleties, for secrets, for signals others overlook. And with every secret comes trust. The king only reveals his heart to those who can carry it without corruption. That's why your hidden seasons matter. They are proving grounds. They test whether you will carry revelation with humility, whether you will guard what others would exploit, whether you will steward mysteries with reverence. But carrying secrets also means carrying weight. It feels heavy to know what others ignore, to see what others deny, to feel what others dismiss. Sometimes you even wish you could unsee, unknow, unhear. Yet this is the cost of duplication, to carry not only your life, but heaven's heartbeat. Chosen one, never forget your scars are credentials, your endurance is evidence, your separation is strategy, and your ears have been trained for whispers others will never catch. You are not random. You are not replaceable. You are a trusted bearer of secrets, carrying the heartbeat of the king into a world desperate for truth. Every duplicate of the king eventually reaches a moment of unveiling. For years you've walked hidden, tested, refined in silence. For seasons you've carried weight no one else could see. But there comes a time when heaven says, "Now." The oil that once flowed in secret begins to shine in public. This unveiling is not about fame, it's not about applause, it's about assignment. When Esther was revealed, it wasn't to sit pretty in a palace, it was to save a nation. When David was crowned, it wasn't to enjoy comfort, it was to establish a kingdom. When Christ himself was revealed, it was to redeem the world. And when you are revealed, it will be to release what heaven has hidden in you for this generation. But unveiling is costly. It invites scrutiny, resistance, even misunderstanding. Some will embrace what you carry, others will question it, still others will oppose it. Don't fear it. Opposition is confirmation. The greater the revealing, the greater the resistance, but also the greater the fruit. You've carried this authority long before anyone noticed it. You've walked with this seal when no one clapped for you, and that is why heaven can now trust you. The hidden years have protected you from arrogance. The silent years have trained you in humility. The crushing years have refined you for purity. Everything behind you was never wasted, it was preparation for what's in front of you. And now, you must walk differently, not as someone begging for validation, but as someone already crowned. Not as someone chasing identity, but as someone established in it. Not as someone hoping to be chosen, but as someone already stamped with heaven's decree. But hear me, being the king's duplicate is not a life of ease. It is a life of surrender. Crowns are heavy, authority is costly, but the joy of it all is this: you are never alone in the weight. The same spirit that sealed you also sustains you. The throne inside you will never leave you. So step boldly, speak with conviction, love with courage, pray with authority, walk as a mirror of the king, knowing the earth is not waiting for perfection, it's waiting for authenticity. The world doesn't need another copy of culture. It needs the reflection of Christ alive in you. And yes, chosen one, let's mention this one last time. Even here, at the close, the mission is bigger than us. Oversubscription doesn't mean scarcity, it means heaven has multiplied this call far beyond what eyes can see. You are part of something vast, something holy, something unstoppable. Chosen one, let this truth settle in you. You are not ordinary, you are not forgotten, you are not powerless. You are a living decree, a walking crown, a mirror of the throne. The king's likeness is stamped on your spirit, and when you finally live in the fullness of that identity, the world around you will know heaven still reigns, and it reigns through you.